Welcome, everybody, to The Rest Hold. I am the Wordsmith, out of costume because I think it's time we had some clarity. I think it's time that we all just took a deep breath and discussed things. Because in September, it is Suicide Prevention Month. And earlier this month, a very tragic thing happened. We lost Daphne earlier this month. And I was a pretty big fan of Daphne growing up through the years. And this really shook me to the core. Now, we add Daphne to a growing list of examples of the connection between mental health and injuries. Daphne is yet another example of CTE. Now, I'm not a doctor, so I might butcher the pronunciation of this. CTE stands for chronic traumatic encephalopathy. I am sorry. That is correct.
There we go.
we have people to correct that. Anyway, It is a very serious topic. And it is a result of concussions, and it's a result of many different brain injuries over the years. Now, in the unfortunate video that if you've seen it, I've seen it. It's not a fun watch. Do not go and look for it if you have seen it. She does mention that she wants her brain to be donated to research. Now, in my research coming up to this chat that we're having today, I found out that you can't actually be diagnosed with CTE before passing away. And today we're going to talk about, dealing with the effects of CTE. And that's sort of the effects of injuries and, the mental, I won't say issues because I don't think that's correct, but the mental injuries, we'll say, that come along with that. People will share maybe some personal stories, and we're just going to talk it out. And the reason that we're all talking today is to make sure that you guys know we're not alone. And if you need to reach out, by all means, reach out. But enough of my soapbox standing. I have a wonderful man here with me, Alex. How are you doing today, sir?
I am well. How are you?
I'm good. This is a I won't say fun topic to be having, but you know what? It needs to be had. And I thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
And the floor, as they say, is yours. I will sit here. Go right ahead.
So kind of touching base on what you were talking about earlier with CTE and everything. It's just there have been so many open cases about this, and especially in this day and age, concussions can be or even just head trauma can be very, very detrimental to a person. And luckily, after certain events, there have been a lot more precautions put into place. With the NFL, with professional wrestling, I believe even some for NASCAR, as I am an Indiana boy.
I think that's true, actually.
Yeah. So, there's still a lot that's unknown about it. It affects people in different ways. Unfortunately, like you said, the only way that we can really diagnose this is, somebody having it post-mortem. And it's very unsettling to see, what this does to people. It affects judgment. It affects just their loss of memory and, a whole other slew of things. And, we would hope that these people who have suffered through this could still be with us,
Exactly. And if we could learn from it,
definitely. it's just it's a sad state of affairs all the way around. And I mean, I guess the biggest message here is, if you're going through something like this, whether it be with CTE or any sort of mental health problem, get a hold of somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, start talking. And I don't want to go too much further into this until we get more from Wordsmith, but if the first thing that we can talk about is just getting out and getting help, for whatever your situation is. Let's start there.
Yeah, no, for sure. And if I could piggyback off of some things that just to piggyback off what you were saying. That's the best segue I can come up with that.
Yeah.
I do apologize in advance, folks. This is a very difficult conversation to be having.
Yeah.
And words for the wordsmith are difficult, so it's true. This is a shoot. So at the moment, I'd like to take just a little bit of time here, if we could discuss kind of how injuries affect your mental health. I'm going to put it in bullet points here, and I'm sure our guests later on in the show will be able to elaborate on it, or maybe they won't, but I just want to cover it. Now, you can, it can affect you in many different ways. And it can affect your mental health in different ways too. Injuries can affect, not only physical, when it comes to your brain, it can affect your mood, because that is literally the thing that makes your body tick. That's the thing that controls everything. If you get a head trauma or you're injured at all in any way, shape, or form, that's going to mess with the way your body works. That's going to mess with the, equilibrium of your body, the balance. It happens. This is a fact. It affects you. There is a correlation there. And, you don't think about it as far as this next point goes, because you're so busy focusing on healing. Injuries, be they physical or mental, they disrupt the way we live our daily lives. And what I mean by that is that you can't go around your normal day. You break your leg, you're staying home, you're sitting down. If you have a brain injury or you're suffering a mental break or something, that's basically the same thing, except it doesn't physically manifest itself. So just a couple of things to be aware of. And I think the thing that relates to this situation, especially with Daphne and so many other cases, the suicide thing, the isolation factor, it can leave you feeling completely alone. And if there's anything that you guys get out of this talk today, it's that you are not alone. Because that is basically your body saying, nope, I have to deal with this on my own. Mm-hmm. It's not true. Because we have a community, and there's also health lines that you can call. You have a family, call them. Even if you don't like them, call them. Be like, hey, I'm not doing good. And that goes for physical injuries and mental injuries as well. So, yeah, those are some things I'd like to keep in mind today as we move forward in this conversation.
Man. Yeah, it's you think of the long list of just professional wrestlers who have now passed because of mental issues. It's too many, and whether or not it's through head trauma or injury or personal
addiction. Let's just say it.
Yeah.
That's it as well.
Some names out there. It's just, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Andrew Martin Test. There's a lot of I can't even think of any right now.
I mean, there's the one
there's a long list. Yeah, we can name, but let's not. This isn't rubbing anybody in the dirt. But
no.
There's a lot of research there to be done about people who have taken their lives, unfortunately, and it could be for whatever reason that I don't want to felt was necessary that they did it, but it's just like after the fact, they left behind this legacy and left behind so much pain. Now with this Daphne situation, those of us who are left, especially those who are close to her, are dealing with the reality that she is no longer with us, and that's the hardest part. It's suicide is kind of a selfish act when you really think about it. You're taking yourself away from those who are around you, who love you and care about you and need you in their lives. I've had family members, unfortunately, take their lives, and I still see and feel the effects that it has on those around me, my relatives. So, what do you have anything that you want to?
I do actually, and well, I think I'll save this for later on during the round table, but I just want to piggyback off of the suicide being a selfish thing. I don't disagree with you on it, but what I usually like to say, and I don't I don't understand suicide myself. I think it's a horrible thing, and I think one of the best I guess phrases I've ever heard about suicide is it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Mm-hmm.
And just examine that in itself. Is you're willing to take yourself out because you feel like it's not worth it anymore. It's wrong. And if you get to that point, I hope you people don't. And I hope that, Alex, I hope that you don't. And I hope that I don't. And I don't wish that on anybody.
Yeah.
Because there are ways to get out of that area. And it is, I do agree it is a bit selfish, but we also have to keep in mind that there is a reason that they got to those situations and things were not
that's
helped.
That's very true. Yeah.
That's kind of the idea of reach out, even if you don't even have a real conversation with somebody, let them know you're there. If you don't hear from somebody, talk to them, pick up a phone. Yeah. I know we hate picking up phones these days for some reason. I love my phone. I have it right here. And, I don't text. I call. Machete don't text. Yeah, he doesn't. Wordsmith don't text. Sorry about that. But, don't let a permanent solution to a temporary problem end everything, because there's so much more to life than that.
Yeah. I mean, things will get better. It's you just have to, I guess, kind of weather the storm as best as I can put it, and it sucks dealing with a lot of things. I mean, for myself, I've dealt with a broken home, an alcoholic father, multiple jobs, people who just, you look at me, you don't see a great looking guy. You see,
I mean, I disagree with that.
For
the
some
words
people,
of Gene Simmons, you're a powerful and attractive man. Deal with it.
But I mean, for somebody, I'm an easy target because I am an overweight male. I'm just, I've gotten a lot of just ridicule over the years, and it's been tough, being called names and whatnot. And there have been some low moments for me, especially nowadays with dealing with my wife and her ailments, just trying to make her better and make her feel better and make her, hope that things are going to get better for us, in our situation. But, we got to soldier on, despite a lot of things, I've, sat back and I've thought to myself, like, it sucks right now. We're low. We don't have, this or that. But if I were to eject myself from the situation in this fashion, she would be here and she would be alone. And, I think about that effect that it would have on her, So my story is a tough one, but it's one that I know a lot of people share, considering my background. But that's the positive note that I want to end on for myself, is that I'm here. I will listen. A lot of us are here, and hopefully those who join us later tonight for the round table, and Wordsmith himself, we'll all listen. We've all been through it. There's no, I don't want to say that there's no unique situation, but there's a relatable situation.
Exactly. And even if there's not. There's
Yeah.
always somebody to listen.
Yeah, there's always somebody to listen. I don't care if you lost your cat or you're in debt to the government. Give me a call. Hit me up in the DMs. I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to talk and say, hey, man, it's down right now. You may be feeling like this is rock bottom, but it's going to get so much better for you.
Exactly. Could not have said it better myself. And I'm the wordsmith, and I can't say it better myself. So, Alex, I thank you so much for your time, your honesty. Always appreciated. And I'll say it to you. I'll say it to the audience as well. Reach out. Alex, you see his Twitter handle on the screen.
Right there.
Reach out.
Do it.
You want to talk? Don't reach out to me because my handle's not out there, but it's at Poetry of a Promo. Got to get that cheap plug in there, I guess.
Yeah, there you go.
However, I will thank you for your time once again, sir.
Yeah.
And, and have a lovely rest of your day and stay happy.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Ta-ta. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the roundtable discussion. I hope you're all enjoying this as much as you possibly can. I know it's tough, but we're gonna keep rolling on this. I have with me I said it in the pre-show, well, off camera. I have with me beautiful Bobby and fantastic Ed. Sorry, Ed, I failed on that one. How are you guys doing today?
Wonderful, actually.
Fantastic. Well, I just want to start off by thanking Alex for participating today. I filmed that with him earlier this morning. I think insightful, and I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on everything we discussed, and as well as anything that you would like to share as well. Now, I remember a little birdie telling me that Bobby would like to go first, so we will start cheap. It's up to you.
Sounds good. First of all, the show opened beautifully. You and Alex did a wonderful job, and thank you very much, Alex, for sharing your personal story. I mean, it takes a lot of courage for a person to do that. It's tough. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about CTE itself, so I don't want to touch too much on it. You guys did a wonderful job in the opening there, but I mean, mental health affects many people different ways and stuff like that. I've dealt with it myself on a personal level for many years. I actually went through quite a lot of experiences, I guess, growing up as a child. In the area I grew up, there was a lot of scandal that went on in the area and stuff like that. I got used to being around media circuses and stuff like that, media manipulating people to do things, watching media manipulate children of all things and stuff like that. It made me question the sincerity of other people and stuff like that. So I kind of grew up a little bit bitter and stuff like that. And it was hard for me to be kind of outgoing and fun and stuff like that. Like I try to be now. I try to give that back to the wrestling community when I come forward in the work I do and stuff like that. Cause I want people to be happy. I want people to be cheerful as much as possible, because there is a lot of darkness in this world. And, those kind of experiences, it did lead me to having social anxiety as I got older, even going on to some of these streams. It becomes very tough. I have to take a deep breath before I go on here. Get very, very nervous before going in. One thing I will touch on, because I do deal directly in professional wrestling. I do help out with Prairie Pro Wrestling. I'm on the commentary team. I'm actually in behind the scenes. We had some training today as well, too. It does make me very, very nervous being there close up at ringside, watching a lot of performers and hopefuls doing the moves. And of course, we're trying to do everything to be as safe as possible, but it's not outside the realm of possibility for somebody to be able to hit their head in the amongst doing a move. Anything can happen in professional wrestling. It especially makes me nervous when guys get around the ropes. For those watching who aren't very familiar, ropes are actually steel wire wrapped with tape. This is legitimate steel wire wrapped with tape. So when you see someone's head bouncing off of that, neck bouncing off of that, it is a very serious issue and can start to lead to these mental problems that people have. And a lot of wrestlers have been affected by it. A lot of sports people have been affected by it. And we've lost a lot of great people as a result too. I was actually at an event up close filming at one point. This was a triple threat TLC match that was put on.
Oh, not
And
dangerous at all.
yeah, not at all.
there's
No.
no risk at all in that.
And yeah, so the spot that was taking place at that time, the one performer was to power slam one of the other guys through a table inside the ring. And unfortunately, the view was blocked and the steps weren't counted properly. And I witnessed this guy's head bounce right off the corner of the table. He was concussed and lost an entire year off his career. Right now, again, we don't know the long-term effects that this could have on him as well, or what maybe he's going through at the moment too, because a lot of people don't necessarily want to reach out, don't want to give their stories, and are afraid to. And it's okay to be afraid. It really is. It's okay to feel down sometimes and stuff like that. What we want to know, let you all know is we're listening. We're here. Reach out anytime. You've heard it a million times, but again, I want you to know we all go through it. It doesn't matter what kind of character or person we portray on other streams or other shows that we do, other involvement in professional wrestling. Right now, you're getting the real us. This is us. This is the people you reach out to. We're not going to be silly or anything like that. We want to hear your story. We want to be there for you. We don't want to lose any more loved ones out there in the world of professional wrestling or out in the world, period. So I hope everyone takes this and uses it for an opportunity to know that we're here and you are loved.
Absolutely. I said it before. I said it with Alex, and I'm going to say it again. I feel like I'm probably going to say it a third time today. Couldn't have said it better myself. And I'm the wordsmith. Sorry, we weren't supposed to be silly. I broke the rule, Bobby, but
it's all good.
Please forgive me on that.
It's okay to be fun.
Yeah, but if I could take one thing away from the overarching thing here, folks, is yes, you are watching Love Wrestling, but you know what? We love wrestling, but we also love each and every one of you. I might not know all of you. Lord knows I only know like maybe 50, 60 people at best. But you're a human being. And if you're having issues, just let us know. Just like Bobby said, like Alex said, like Ed's going to say, I can already tell so far, and that's totally fine. The more the merrier. Reach out anytime. We're here for you. Now, Ed, let's hear from you.
So growing up, I lived a semi-normal life. There's a lot of people, we're talking about Alex talking about coming from a broken home. And unfortunately, I can't relate to a lot of that. However, in 1992, my dad was involved in an explosion at his job. He was working on a bus, and at a young age, having the potential to lose your dad and not seeing him because I was 8 years old, not seeing him for almost a year while he was recovering from the burns and everything else that went along with it. It rocked me a little bit as a kid. Continued growing up and just developed into depression. And depression gets the best of us and all of us as we grow up. And in high school, I wasn't the person I wanted to be. And I wasn't living the life that I saw on TV and that, we all grew up watching and going, oh, that's what high school's supposed to be. I'm not doing all those fun, crazy, wacky antics that every show about high schoolers gets involved with. And I got down on myself. And thankfully, the night that I decided was going to be the night that I was going to go ahead and do the terrible thing, I told a friend of mine at a school dance that I was planning on doing it. And she went and told my favorite teacher, and they got a group of friends of mine from the class that I'm in with them. And during a school dance, we had 10 people in a classroom talking about why this isn't the end and why this was a bad idea. And it got me the help I needed. And through that, I developed and learned coping mechanisms that have helped me for the rest of my life. And while I'm no longer treated for, I know that I have depression, and I know that it's a constant battle. And it's learning not to mask it in a mask. I love wrestling for that thing. It's like you can hide yourself behind a mask in wrestling. But in reality, in the real world, you don't want to hide yourself behind too many masks. because of the fact that you want people to see the real you and the things that you're going through and the problems that you're having in life. And having a support system and having, anybody, whether it be coming on a podcast and chit-chatting with people every week and looking forward to that next podcast to go, all right, I have this to look forward to. I'm going to look forward to being on the next stream or doing the next activity with the community and seeing the people like, in the stream today, we've got Joe, we've got Throwback, we've got Astrid, people that I talk to now fairly regularly because of the fact that it's become a routine and it's helpful. My dad passed away about 12 years ago, but the anniversary week was last week. And I knew that I wasn't going to be able to concentrate during the week because a lot of the streams happen to fall on the days. The NXT stream that I do fell on the day that he passed away. The day that the Saturday Reacts would have been was the day he was buried. So there was no chance on either of those streams I was going to be able to give the effort and concentration that I wanted. And because of that, it's that time of year. That week is just rough. And so I hid and I went into my cocoon and I, relied on a small group of friends that support me in real life beyond the wrestling world. And I relied on those people to help keep me in a good place and to keep me floating, because that week is always a tough week for me. And it's nice to know that people care, because I put in the Love Wrestling chat, hey, I'm going to be out this week, can't do any shows, sorry about that. And there was a number of people who were just like, hey, are you okay? Is everything going on? Is everything all right? And it was a couple of people that I reached out to and was like, this is what I'm dealing with. I'm going to be all right, but I'm not quite where I need to be. And just knowing that there are people there to reach out to. And like Bobby said, like Wordsmith has said, like Alex said before, reach out to me. My Twitter handle's right here. My DMs are open. Go ahead and reach out. I love to talk to people. I try to answer everybody as best I can. And, I'm here. I'm here to listen. I've had multiple people in my life have mental issues and have depression issues. And I've seen people make attempts, and I've seen and loved people who are dealing with the aftermath of the attempts. And it's just, I just want people to know that I'm here and I will listen. And just remember that, I wasn't sure if it was you or if it was Alex that said it, but it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
I will take credit for having it said on this show, but I did not make that up. But I do live by that idea. And honestly, Ed, I'm sure you can all hear it in my voice. That was thank you very much for sharing. That
was touching, Ed, man. Sorry for your loss, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Like I said, it's we all lose a parent at one point or another. It's the fact of life. We're all going to lose them eventually. I had just moved back. So at that point I had moved to Wisconsin and been out there for 21 months. And I'd just gotten out of a relationship when I found out that my Alzheimer father had cancer on top of it. And it was the end. And I was like, all right, I'm going to come home and I'm going to, I have nothing else out here because I'd moved out there to be with somebody and things didn't work out, but we're still friends and we still talk. But I was like, all right, I'm coming home. I came home. I was home 3 days. It was the first time that I was watching him alone in general. My mom was like, I just need a break. I need to get out of the house. She went shopping for the first time and he took the turn downhill. And I was the one who was there. And it's a guilty, heavy feeling to be the one where it's like everything turned downhill. And the one time she needed to just get out and get away and have some time for herself, within 2.5 hours, I'm like, hey, he's making these sounds. Hey, things aren't right. Getting the VA nurse to come in and telling us that he's got hours left. And this is my first time watching him on my own. it was a tough pill to swallow. So every year when that comes up, it's not even so much that my dad's gone, because my dad and I were close, but it's the fact that it was 3 days that I had been back. It was, had I waited any longer, had I done any delay, I may have missed it. And it's tough sometimes, but that's why that week hits me so hard. And that's why it's so nice to have people around who care about me and love me and want to be there for me.
Mind if I step in from there?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I wanted to take the floor a minute because I'm reading a lot of these beautiful stories being shared in the comments
Yeah,
here.
I was going to say, do we want to talk about those a little bit?
Absolutely.
Certainly in a minute we should, for sure. I just wanted to take the floor for a minute because after seeing all these, and Ed, you sharing your story, and Alex, Sarah sharing his earlier, I find it hard to share personal stories a lot, and I'm gonna try my best here because this always makes me nervous. It's always a feeling of being judged and stuff like that. But growing up, my household wasn't great. We went through. I talked a little bit about the media, but my dad was actually in prison for 6 months, accused of something that I won't get into full detail on. But we grew up being monitored a lot of the time. We had, and this is not even a word of a lie, like the vans that would sit across the road watching your household because they want to make sure that nothing's going on. And just phones being tapped and stuff like that. And then hearing stories about, like, there was a plan to have him murdered while he was in prison when he was going to go to the visitor center. There was a plan to have him stabbed to death by 3 guys in the correctional center at that time. And hearing about that and stuff, it really did mess with my head. And I think this might be the first time I've ever shared this in any sort of detail with anybody. It's difficult for me, but reading all these beautiful stories and hearing all these beautiful stories, I felt enough courage to kind of tell a little bit about it here. And I kind of wanted to take that moment there for a second.
Absolutely.
No issues with that. Honestly, Bobby, like, I thank you. And on a personal note, I don't particularly like using this phrase, but everyone involved in this, manly thoughts. Everyone today is just showing incredible amounts of, I won't say strength, but honesty and truth. Because the ability to come on here and do this, I thank you guys so much. But before, everybody else has shared, I guess I will. Oh boy. So before we move on to that, what I'd like to do now, because we're trying to find the positive. This was the goal of this. Yes, there is mental health issue. There are there's the suicide factors and all these horrible things, and we've all made it through. That's the point where we're all here watching this and we're all together. We can all agree on that. No matter how we got here, we're all here. Now, what I'd like to go around right now between you two is what helped you get through it. Like, is there anything specifically that you were like, no, this really did help me, like watching a TV show or just focusing on work or something?
Well, I'll go first on that. So it has taken me a long time dealing with anxiety and depression, stuff like that, being able to even open up about my feelings. And, of course, like, my wife's been fantastic, very supportive of me and been there for me all this time. For me, it's been, especially the last few years, just taking the time to meditate, got into doing yoga, definitely was helpful as well too. I changed my eating habits a lot. I can't say I eat healthy all the time, but definitely changing up a lot of my eating habits has been a beneficial thing. Then from there, it has been just keeping myself busy. I do a lot of studying of everything I possibly can. I try to be a little bit of a perfectionist when I can, even though I don't do things perfectly all the time by any means. I do a lot of reading and checking up on things. And then my time with editing pro wrestling videos and stuff like that. It kind of distracts my mind from overthinking things from the past and stuff like that. And and then coming on these streams, this one was tough, but the streams that we do on a regular basis where we get to have fun and just enjoy the friendship of others and reading comments from other people and stuff like that, it's a beautiful thing, and it gives me something to look forward to, and it really helps keep my days going for sure.
If I could just throw a cheap plug in here, because we got to bring some levity to this. I'm sorry, guys, it's a lot. But speaking of the streams, and I'm personally a fan of this, and we have a gentleman who, I'm kind of a fan, maybe a bit biased. He's a coworker. I'm going to bring this comment up because I think we have to do it at least once a show. Otherwise, I'm going to get in trouble. Mighty Joe coming back tonight. Welcome back, Mighty Joe. And yeah, blowing off stream. What time is that on at?
10 p.m.
10 p.m. Now, Ed, if you would be willing to share a little bit more your coping mechanisms, and then maybe I'll close this, or we'll continue going, but I'll share right after you guys.
So as a teenager, it was, obviously help was mandated at that point. I mean, it was a school dance, so things were like that but I got professional help. I got somebody to talk to that I could deal with my emotions and things like that. As I've grown up, I've learned to, have my friends and talk to them and really open up to them and show them who I am. Another thing that I like to do is, I call it my feel-good movie. It's whenever I need something or whenever I'm losing touch with reality. There's one movie and one movie alone that I go to, and I've seen it over 100 times because, like I said, it's one of the coping mechanisms, and it's one of the things that really keeps me grounded in myself. And it's 10 Things I Hate About You with Julia Stiles and Heath Ledger, which, considering what I use it for,
it's not a bad pick.
Considering what I use it for, it's interesting that Heath Ledger is in it with everything that happened with Heath. Yeah. But no, I mean, like I said, it's one of those things that helps. It's an hour and a half that I don't have to think about anything, and I can just fall into a zone, in a trance, and just be in a different place and ground myself once again with what's true and what's honest, and get myself back to where I need to be.
Thank you very much. Now, so I have had, I'll give an overview, and I'll go into as much detail as I feel comfortable. I don't know what that's going to be. We'll see. So, Ed, your story really hit home because I'm the youngest of 3 kids. And unfortunately for my family, my dad didn't make it past the time that I was 8 years old. So I've always kind of had a little bit of a, whatever issues go along with that. Again, I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a doctor. I don't know enough to know how it affected me. But then about 6 years ago, I thought that would be the worst thing that happened in my life. But let's just run down the laundry list of how I came to be who I am. 6 years ago, I was working in Alberta and as a live sound technician, because a view behind the curtain. What did Wordsmith used to do? But I was a live sound technician out in Banff. Actually, it was quite nice. I was there on my second contract. I was home for Christmas, and I got a phone call that my best friend had passed away. And I thought that was the worst thing that had ever happened. And it was at the time. 6 months later, girlfriend of 7 years decides to break up with me over the phone, I might add. That's a little, I know it's petty, but it's over the phone, just saying. Didn't think it could get much worse. Then we flash forward about 7 or 8 months from there, and I'm back in Banff again from Montreal, getting a phone call from my mom after I'm done work, and I find out that my brother had passed away. due to decisions that were not the most amazing. I'll leave it at that. And yeah, it's been pretty bad dealing with that. You name it, I've done it. As far as coping mechanisms, I decided to take the rock star approach and fix it with booze and partying. Didn't last really that long. After about a week and a half, I thought, this is really dumb. And it was. And I still feel bad about it. However, what I will say, and the reason that I asked you guys about your coping mechanisms, is because I've always had the same one. Well, the same 3 or 4, whatever. Spanish Inquisition joke aside. I've always had music, either making it or listening to it. I've always had wrestling since I was about 10 years old, and I will never let it go because it's just the thing that's always been there, whether good or bad. It's a constant. And I've always had my family. And the last one is the most important because I found it kind of therapeutic, and it was, recommended to me by a teacher when I was in high school, but that's a totally different story, is writing poetry, writing songs, writing anything. Now, those are my coping mechanisms. And I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. If you do need help and you're thinking, I don't want to talk to a therapist, I don't want to talk about my feelings, guess who was the same way until everything got too much? I made the call, and I can't even begin to describe how much that helped. Now, I'm not recommending it to everybody, but I'm recommending it to those of you that are able to. If you have the option, use it. If you have a cell phone number of somebody, use it. Because you got one life. And this is my one per show. And it's a fucking beautiful world we live in with you in it, and we don't want you going. So do what you have to. And take care of yourselves.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. That was great.
Yeah. So where do we go from there?
Maybe we could look at some of the stories that have been shared in the comments there.
Yeah, let's take a quick look here. I'm going to pull this up here. We have from Twitch. This is from Throwback, if I'm reading the right one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was not. Do you guys want me to? I'm sorry.
I can read it.
Do you want to? Sorry, I was.
I'd rather hear a person's voice rather than text. It's more calming, I think. My mom passed 2 years ago, and it helped. And I've been through hell. Been hearing friends via voice is now more meaningful since we only have text. Dealing with a parent with cancer and going through divorce is rough, but having people around makes a difference.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can confirm. Thank you for sharing. Let's see what else.
Another thing to talk about is, we're all coming out of a worldwide pandemic where.
Oh, is that still happening?
Yeah, we're hopefully on the backswing to a worldwide pandemic where a lot of people are going to be dealing with a lot of these issues right now. And we're going to have, as much as we did before, we're going to have the need to be open and to be honest with each other going forward more than ever. We need to erase the stigma that mental illness and mental health is a bad thing. Mental health is just as important as going to the doctor and getting a cough checked out. Mental health is just as important as to going and getting a physical. Dealing with your own mental health, whether it be with a professional or making sure that you're being open and honest with the people around you that are your friends and your family, and having people who can help keep you accountable for your actions and what's going on is going to be of the utmost importance as we all re-enter the world, because we're all entering a new world, a different world. This world is completely different than the world that we left. in March of 2018 or February of 2020, I should say. The worldwide pandemic changed it. It's not going to be the same world, and we have to learn that it's okay to ask for help. It's not soft. It's not sad. It's not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength. It's you being strong enough to be confident in yourself to go, I can't do this alone, because alone I'm not strong enough. I need other people around to help me.
Yeah. And you know, that actually does tie into, not to circle back, but actually, yeah, to circle back just to get it all connected. I mean, we talked about earlier in the show, we talked about CTE and, you know, injuries and connecting. The whole world has been injured in this case, and we're all dealing with isolation. So to reiterate what Ed said, do not be afraid. Reach out. Talk to me. Talk to Bobby. Talk to Ed. Talk to Spencer. So it keeps me out of his office.
And do it before it gets too late is the other thing I can recommend too, because exactly. I mean, I always grew up with that stigma that it wasn't okay to necessarily feel down, or, you know, you're meant to feel like you're weak because you had feelings and stuff like that, as kind of upbringing I was taught and stuff like that. So I didn't always necessarily deal with things the best. And as a result, like, my anxiety got the best of me. I ended up going in to see a doctor and stuff like that. It was all the symptoms you could feel that they say to feel expecting a heart attack. And you start to feel like the numbness in the arm, the heart palpitations, the sweating, and you start to panic even more, only to go find out that it's anxiety. From there, you know, I started to tense up a lot and stuff like that. I now have a problem with my TMJ joint on this side of my face, which then has caused my brain to believe that there is a sound or a noise. So I have tinnitus in this one ear. It's like a high-pitched squealing sound that I hear on a constant basis. It really makes things difficult, and probably things that could have been avoided had I bothered to step up a little bit sooner and maybe deal with this sooner.
Wow. So,
sorry, don't know where to go.
No, this is exactly where I knew this was going to end up. And you know what? It's fine, because silence is natural. And especially with the topics that we've been discussing for the last going on 50 minutes now, guys, don't feel bad. We've been discussing it for like the whole time we've been on. Do not feel bad. It's true. This is honest. And let me just take the consensus of the room. Do we feel like we've covered everything we want to talk about? Do we want to share anything else? Does the audience have any questions or comments?
Yeah, definitely. If the audience has questions, that would be great. We're here to listen right now too. We're here right now. So if you want to join in on the conversation, let us know anything that you want to talk about. We're here to listen to you guys.
I am going to bring up one comment because he's back.
I love you too, Alex.
And reiterating the point. Let him know. Let me know. Let Ed know. Let Bobby know. Let your grandmother know. Anybody. Just, yeah.
I just wanted to bring it up because it's an important number, and there are places around the world where you can get help if you need somebody, you know, and we're not around or something else, or you choose not to open up to us, but to please open up to somebody. The national suicide in the United States, and I'm assuming this might be in Canada and in other places around the world. I know there are places like Calm and Mind and the Samaritans in the UK, but the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, 1-800-273-8255.
Yes.
You know, they have people on standby who are trained and ready to deal with issues and whatnot. I mean, we raised money, you know, over the summer for the Trevor Project, which deals with the mental health and the safety and helping with teens and young adults and whatnot that of the Pride, you know, family of acronyms. I know there's a better way to put it, but people who deal with, you know, that, and it's there's always somebody there. There's a group there for you that specializes in helping people like you, because you're not alone. There's going to be hundreds of people like you. You might not know it, but there's somebody like you somewhere that is going to be able to help deal with some of the things that you're going through.
And to jump off that, I know locally here we have an 811 hotline as well too for anybody to call for medical reasons. That also includes mental health. They have people on standby to talk to as well. So I know that's a very important number in here in Saskatchewan and Canada. I'm not sure about the rest of Canada as well too. I know there's various numbers. There's also a lot of apps up there that can connect you directly to people that can talk about mental health as well. So I mean, there is a plethora of ways these days for everybody to reach out and talk to somebody. And as always, reach out to any of us or your friend, your neighbor, a loved one, anybody. I mean, do it before it's too late.
Exactly. I couldn't. Wow, I find myself saying this every 2 minutes on this show. You guys have the curtain has fallen on me. I could not say it better. We are living in an age of availability, and that includes 100% mental health resources. And they are out there. Even if you're not looking, just type it in. Type in how you're feeling. You'll figure it out. You'll find a number. It takes a quick Google, and you'll be connected to someone who will be able to talk to you about what's going on. We've said it a million times on this show already, but keep in touch. Let people know. I think that about does it, gentlemen. And I thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
You are very welcome. And I thank you, audience, for just coming along with us on this and experiencing this. So we're going to go around one more time here. And what I'd like to do is maybe social media handles. I know it's, just in case you want to reach out, we can discuss. Let's go around and see where people can reach us. And yeah, feel inclined to contact us. Bobby, we'll start with you.
Yeah. So anyway, you guys, I don't often say it, but I mean, with social media, I'm not huge on it, but find me on Facebook Messenger is probably the easiest way to contact if you want to talk about things like this. Don't go looking for Bobby Munson on there. Obviously, I go by my actual name. I am Robert Munson by trade or by birth, I guess. So reach out to me on there. Facebook Messenger, probably the quickest way and easiest way to contact me so that I definitely see it and can get back to you in a reasonable amount of time.
And for me, it's right here. Ed Fries 12584 on Twitter. You can go ahead and find me there, and I should be able to find it pretty easily. But always feel free to reach out.
And lastly, and I'll close it out here, at Poetry of a Promo on Twitter. Contact me there, and I'll be right in touch with you. Whatever you want to talk about. So this is the end of the show. It's the beginning of the rest of everyone's day and life. So enjoy it. If you need help, reach out. What was the line I came up with before? Oh, I'm vamping, I know. We love you. We love wrestling. And we most of all, love each and every. Let me try that again. I'm going to rewind. Ready? We love wrestling, but mostly we love our audience, and we want you all to love yourselves. So take care, be safe, see you around. Bye-bye.